Hey, welcome to Fear Porn Propaganda. I'm Wisecraft, and today I'm with.
On 2150.
So, what's on your mind today, sir?
We were talking about numerology. We're like, let's do a show on numbers again.
Right.
You're like, that's a good idea. We should do that.
Yeah, but I wanted to switch it up and make it more like, let's break down numbers in a more almost spiritual sense, because numerology comes from a more of a spiritual source, and then kind of breaks down from that. There's a lot of like information I came across, and I have it like in my notes, so I'll go ahead and go through that, and we can kind of build on top of that as we bring it to the fore. So the word numerology, let me bring it over there.
For those of you who do not already know.
There you go. Oh, we should invite people. Anyway, the word numerology is reality is created by numerological codes. Math is universal, as we are. Reality is created by sacred geometry. The word numerology is made of the Latin word numerus, which means number, and the Greek word logos, which means word, thought, expression. Therefore, the numerology can be defined as the science of numbers. In ancient times, people used numerology to predict the future. After that, it was used to understand people's personalities.
Yeah.
What's up?
So even though the history of numerology tends to say, oh, it came along when Pythagoras showed up, because he gave us practical ways to use numbers and things like that. But really, the belief that numbers spoke to us comes like from way ancient times, right?
Yeah.
Before that, I don't exactly know how to point to a source for it, but we do have evidence of civilizations like
Pythagoras. You could look up Pythagoras.
Gematria. How old is that? Or at least how old is the Jewish religion?
Yeah.
And then numbers.
And there's different forms of gematria you have to explain, because there's like 4 or so of them. There's like simple, there's Greek, and there's like Jewish or Hebrew, and Kabbalah, that type.
And numbers have always been practical. You know, there hasn't been a time once we discovered them, because that's really what numbers are. They were a discovery. It's not like we invented them. It seems like they just exist out there. And in many ways, that's why physics has become the envy of all other sciences, is because you can actually use come up with a theory and then test it with actual like calculations within a very short margin of error. And you don't get that many places. Numbers are very dynamic and diverse in their uses that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in Greece, I guess some 2,600 years ago, Pythagoras is the father of mathematics. He wrote that the limitless, it was the numbers is a limit to the limitless. The numbers constitute the true nature of things, and that all concepts can be expressed in numbers. Further, he elaborated on the qualities and relative relationships between each of the 9 numbers, and as such became the father of modern numerology. Hey, what's going on, Rob? Welcome in.
What's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going?
Numerology today, and we can't hear you.
Kind of working right now, but
Can't hear because you don't have this on.
Oh.
Yeah, we're talking about numerology today. So.
Yeah, I'm just working right now, guys. I have to get back to it.
Cool, bro.
Oh, okay, for sure. If you want to pop in here and there.
Yeah, feel free to just listen, man. We'll keep in mind that we have a viewer. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's see. Did you have anything to add to that?
Oh, so I actually agree with Pythagoras on this. You said that what was it again? That numbers had like a correlation between.
Yeah, we're not
this is gonna be a really bad recording.
Music.
Rob, you're breaking up, man. I'm not hearing you. Robert, you're breaking up like really bad. Okay, I think we
We
lost
should
some of
just
them.
keep going.
Okay, so what were you saying?
Um,
Right here? The between the 9 and numbers such as became the father of modern numerology.
yeah, he became the father of modern numerology. And this guy was like a mystic and all of that. Um, I can't. I'm looking at your notes here and I'm trying to find it, but I can't see it.
What you saw before?
You
Or I
said
said.
that he wrote that numbers set a limit to the limitless.
Oh yeah, that's right here.
That numbers constitute the true nature of things, and that all concepts can be expressed in numbers.
Right.
So, I mean, hey, that gave birth to a whole new field of mathematics for the human race. And we're really lucky that
Yeah,
we,
instead of summing things and getting
Yeah.
more like deeper into like things going further and further out, like this adds to that adds to that, we
It-
went the opposite direction, and it goes come to a perfect number, break everything down. Like the letters become numbers, and then those numbers get summed, and then those numbers break down to the one perfect number.
I personally think that the existence of numbers, because we discovered them, and the fact that we can, in many ways, use numbers to understand the natural world, there are many ways that it falls short as well, and that's what quantum theory shows us. But maybe the fact that they even exist says to us that the universe truly is limitless, that is somehow evidence that the universe has limitless qualities, because so many things can be determined by numbers.
Exactly.
So I agree with Pythagoras in many ways. Anyway, continue.
Okay. Well, so it says that numerology is based on the study of mysterious hidden meaning that numbers can provide about a person, place, or thing, and to use it, you must convert the letters into a name to a number. So then you convert the letters in a name to a number. Then, depending on the system used, the birth date is also taken into account sometimes. And there are many systems of numerology, and the two most well known are Chaldean and Pythagorean. Uh, though each is a different system with distinct differences, they both are in agreement on certain things.
Yeah, so
And
like
I could show you those.
we've already calculated our birthdays while we were here. I'm a 6. I forget what that means.
I'll go into personal years in a minute. We'll just break this down first. Bow, bow.
You have a whole agenda.
So, this is the Chaldean system. Numerology originally comes from Chaldea, the southernmost part of Mesopotamia. Civilization considered the foundation of the Western cultures, meaning that we can see from the written documents at about 3,500 years before Christ that they used the dual decimal system. I can't say that right.
Dewey Decimal?
Yeah, thank you. Dewey Decimal System, or decimal sexagesimal system of counting, unlike the Hebrews and Semites, Phoenicians, Arabs, Aryans from India, and
yes.
Egyptians who used the decimal system. So, the Phoenicians are in there.
See, the mathematical use of numbers has been well established. And these societies were pretty advanced, I have to say. I mean, they're doing stuff that if you put me in the backyard with a group of 20,000 of my closest friends and showed me a bunch of rocks, I would definitely not think to build a pyramid. You know, that would not be the first thought on my mind.
Right.
Nor how like the engineering like things that come into play when trying to figure that out. I don't think we still don't know to this day, right? We don't know.
No, we do not know.
We're like, shit. Yeah. No one really can explain that.
But I find numbers like fascinating in general, and I use them for my art and stuff, measurements and things like that. That creates sacred geometry. So that's why I started getting into this in the first place and breaking things down. And then originally it was Nostradamus. I thought that Nostradamus had like a code system to his quatrains. I used to be like a Nostradamian person or whatever. And the quatrains were in no particular order. They didn't seem like they were in particular order if you read from one to another. So I figured maybe they were in like a puzzle in a form.
What's a quatrain?
They're like prose from Nostradamus's like predictions. They're like poems basically in form of prose, and there's 4 stanzas.
And that's what they're called.
And four stanzas to a prose is called a quatrain.
Oh, all right.
And they were written in original French. So I originally broke it down in Pythagorean code system of numerology, and I found that didn't lead me into the direction it seemed like I was supposed to go. It almost seemed like it was leading me the wrong direction. Like it was giving me a story, but a different story than was correct in a sense. There was some parts where it like led off. There was like codes that connected on a level where I can keep on going, but then they ended up dropping me. So I tried the other one. I tried this Chaldean on the same original French, and it took me in a whole different direction. It seemed to be lined out like a computer.
Do you speak French?
No, I had to just take the letters and break them down into numbers.
I was going to be like, damn.
Then break each word breaks down into a number, and then each 3 words creates the final number.
So did you come across research like this?
No, I just did it on my own.
Okay.
I was interested in Nostradamus quatrains and philosophy and prophecy and theology, and so I read a lot of that, and I saw the combinations. I saw some correlations, and I was wondering if maybe there was a code that brought these together.
What was the original idea that brought you to this?
Looking into numerology itself showed things like gematria. And gematria were breakdowns of letters and stuff. And I was like, why isn't this done in Nostradamus quatrains? It may have a system there. I was like, maybe would he have just thrown them up in the air and then just like, calculated as they fall? I mean, how did he create each one in this system? There had to have been some sort of breakdown code that you can go back and find out.
You calculated these quatrains of Nostradamus using the numerology of French, right?
Not in the numerology of French. I took the French language that it was original that he wrote it out at.
Yes.
Right. And I had to, get the transliteration of it in order to understand what it says. But if you break down the transliteration, you're not going to get the same results because it's in English. You have to break down the original French, then you get the same results. You get these basically like a graph, and then another graph, and then a result, and an answer. And the answer would take you to the next quatrain. So you'd get 3 numbers in the end. And the quatrains would say like century 1, quatrain 25 or something like that. So that would be 3 words. 3 numbers. But the first number is always in Roman numeral. And the second number is in normal, 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of thing. So once you put that together, I found out, well, what if you use that as the code system, and the breakdown of whatever quatrain gives you, it gives you 3 final numbers. Those 3 final numbers will be your quatrain to go to next. And then I continued to do that over and over again and came up with a code system.
Nice.
It's pretty crazy.
I'd be really interested in seeing that someday.
We may show that in the future broadcast. So anyway, Chaldean letters are different from the Pythagorean because they have 1 has 5 values to it, 2 has 3, 3 has 4, 4 has 3, 5 has 4, 6 has 3, 7 has 2, and 8 has 2. And when you go into the other one, the Pythagorean, it's the opposite. It's just 3 on each one, and it goes to 9. Now, what's interesting about the Chaldean versus the Pythagorean is Chaldean doesn't actually have 9. You have to equal it. You have to add 1 plus 8 equaling 9. You have to add 3 plus 6 to equal 9, and that's how you get it. Yeah. Same with 11. Same with 22. The only way to get these master numbers, these magical numbers, if you will, is to add the correct things up. Now, is what Chaldean connects to is the Bible and in its original form, like it's Hebrew text, of symbol representations, and those break down into these letters. So that actually is like a code in itself. If you use this as a cipher for the original Hebrew, you start seeing connections to these letters and the value systems of what they use with their breakdowns, because each of these has a value. And that's how you get their numerology perception. They're like, it's an older form. We use numerology nowadays for gematria perception. It's like breakdown to breakdown type of thing. Like you're breaking down your name to a number, right? But you have to break each letter of your name down to a number to sum that up to get your number.
Yeah, exactly.
And same with the date. Any given date.
And what if you take
and you could do that with other things too.
You take your name and your birthday and add those together, and then that gives you a whole new number.
That's right. And each one has a different meaning for its perception and whatnot. So let's see, stop presenting here. And so Pythagoras is the other way. Show that. And you see how that works differently. I have to move this over. Hold on. See how 9 is associated? And there are 3 to each one. And this makes a perfect triangle. And that's what it's connected to. It's a triangle. Pythagoras is a squared plus b squared equals 3 squared. I mean, not Pythagoras, his system is the theorem. So, started about 600 BC, sometimes called modern numerology, more popular because it's easier to and gives more realistic meaning to full name given at birth. Conversion is done in sequence. Pythagoras is a mathematician. Uses all compound numbers to reduce to single numbers. And you find that this is the one used that the Masons use for the coding and like all of the operations that we experience and events and things like that. All these break down to 33s and 47s and 74s. And I showed that in a previous thing. So then, let's see. Do you have anything to add? Do you?
I'm a deer in headlights. What?
So I wanted to go into the personal years a little bit. This is how this works.
Well, there is a long-standing belief that numbers do give us insight into the nature of the universe, whether it be like God speaking to us or simply the underlying principles that govern relationships within the universe.
Yes.
But people hold true to the idea in some sectors that numbers really, like, they really are something that is given. It's like a gift of the gods. And if we can just use these numbers in our advantage, we can create larger numbers.
Exactly.
And that's the whole goal, is to create larger and larger numbers for our bank accounts.
Is that the goal?
Yep.
Well,
some people have a really good system.
So if you add the double digits, if single, leave alone, add the month of your birth plus the day of your birth plus the year, whatever the year is.
Oh, that's what I did. I'm a 6.
And then you get your personal year. And if you go by each one has its own meaning.
Go to 6.
I want to go in order.
No.
Yep. So number 1 is this year. This is the year of new beginnings. 1 means you alone, learning, growing, exploring new options. The old is gone. Your seeking guides you to new. Oh, yeah, I wanted to.
You were gonna invite some people.
Yeah, I forgot to invite people.
Oops. Well, we're so popular. I mean, we probably just have people who watch this like all the time. They're like, "Oh, it's noon on Thursday."
No, a lot of people are working at this time.
Dearborn's talking about today. Well, it's numbers.
It's nice to
and they're
be
scary.
Able to, like,
and you should stay away.
For a minute, though,
you should definitely stay away. Don't listen to this man. He's crazy.
He's crazy person.
Well, the gematria is like a Jewish tradition, right? And they study the Torah with it.
There is part of that, yeah.
And they think that God speaks to you or through names and things like that. So if you did the gematria of your name, your parents, they think that they named you uh, Jehovah or whatever, but really it was God giving the name to the child through you. Is that strange?
Yes.
And then like whatever that turns out to be, then that is like how God is determined that things should go. Like you've been assigned your number, you have certain traits, and
it's kind of computerized in that way, right?
You give the name to the thing that brings it into being.
Well, we were born with a name, but like that was essentially connected to the doctorate with shipping. That's like all associated with shipping trade, Dominus Maximus and all that. So
it's been a while since I've done really any historical research on that, but tell me about that.
What?
That situation.
Oh, Dominus Maximus?
Yes.
When you're born, your name is put under your what do you call that? The birth certificate, right? And it's a certificate of birth. That represents like trade of shipping, basically. And so you can be put on the stock market, just like shipping trade happens on the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole behind maritime law is associated with that too. That's why we're slaves to the government instead of the government being slaves to us. Because when you're born under Dominus Maximus, not as a person or a human being. You're born under a corporation, a name that becomes your corporation, like a business. And therefore you could be traded.
Do you have to get tattoos of all the organizations that have sponsored you over the years?
No, like you don't necessarily even know, right? It's like it's like a hidden kind of perception where like you're being controlled from the outside but not really realizing it, because everything that you're doing when you get there, it appears that you did it.
Yeah, but really the gates have just been
opening
made a little
for
bit,
you,
your
yeah,
opportunities,
or closing depending on your situation.
Right. So the idea is like this energy field that you carry along with you is like this number. It's a resonance that you associate with, and it opens certain venues for you in your life because energies follow
like
certain
clearance
pathways.
Kind of like clearance.
A clearance.
Clearance,
Okay.
but not like a government type of clearance, more like a clearance of like they're clearing the way for you on your path. Like if they want you to take a path, they'll open a door for you to take that path. Like maybe someone calls you and goes, hey, do you want to do this job? And you don't know if they set that up.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Who knows? Like maybe they see really charismatic people and they're like, huh, what would they be good for? They do the numerology or their name, like let's say Barack Obama, he's an 11, and they're like, huh, well, the numerology is associated with like his birth year, and then that number, and then some of the signature traits that people have associated with those particular numbers, like these ones that you're reading here.
Yeah.
Year 2. Well, he's like an 11. Do you have 11 in here? I guess they're like leaders or something. And Reagan was one. Clinton was one. I'm a 6. And I think that George Bush was one. And I don't know if that doesn't seem like such a good thing, but 11 is like a master number, right? Maybe they're like, oh, okay, so he's got this number and he's really charismatic. Let's see if he'll be a good president or something like that.
And 11's derived from 2, so that goes back to the 2, because if you break down 11, it equals 2.
Right. 2. Yeah. And what do we have here?
Oh, a year for relationships, partnerships, the home. If you are in a bad relationship, it will end. If you are not in a relationship, a meaningful one can begin and long lasting. Your concerns are in marriage, divorce, love, and affairs. You seek the heart, soulmate, business partnerships are often important and can grow. Wasn't that mine?
You?
Yeah, didn't we break it down
I
to
thought
a
you were a
2?
5.
I thought that was 20, and we broke, and that equaled 2.
You were going too fast, so I couldn't keep up.
Okay, so let's see. 7 plus 6 plus 7. Isn't that 20? Oh, hold on a second.
Pause.
Kid.
Pause the universe.
Pause universe.
Ladies and gentlemen, your universe is now paused. Well, not really.
Well, you can just come on, and you don't have to talk or whatever, or you can be on your phone.
Anyway, I was trying to think about what I had just recently learned about the number 2, but I can't. It was something about leadership and things like that, but it also makes me think that people who have the number 2, they might struggle with the duality. Ever think of that? Like Barack Obama, totally two-faced, if you ask me, and so was Bill Clinton. Ronald Reagan basically just turned a blind eye to a government black op operation where trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars have been spent unknowingly, and then no one can track them down. No one sees where that money goes, type of thing. And now I'm ranting.
Yeah, I don't know where you're at. What are you talking about?
Leadership skills of our presidents.
Okay.
And so number 3, I was talking about number 2. Maybe they struggle with duality because, one, their personality, their one face that they show you is that they'll be this person, they'll do these things for you, and then they turn around and they totally stab you in the back.
Right.
They don't do any of the things that they said that they were going to, or if they do some, and they're the things that don't particularly matter as much overall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, number 3 is supposed to be creative. Oh, it already said. Anyway, number 3 is the only one I remember.
Okay, moving forward with your goals: creative, education, career, travel, social year, friendships, old and new. You may let go of friendships that have grown apart. You do not dwell on issues. Seek fun, creative. You can shine in forms of self-expression, art, writing, music, and performing.
Cool.
All right. Well, there you go. So that seems like that one should be me, but I think
You're like,
the other
I
one
should have been a 3.
That sucks. All right, and then 4 is hard work, personal discipline, overcoming obstacles and limitations. Once overcome, great things can be achieved. Watch health issues, emotional, medical, dental. Get needed rest, real estate, relocations, properties. Fix up your home office. Create a private space so you can be alone to process your issues and goals. Avoid confrontation.
Damn, number 4 kind of sounds like me.
Uh-oh. He's identifying.
I'm like, maybe I should have been a 4. Like, how accurate is this system really?
So then 5 is this is a year of change or a time to take new direction with things that no longer work. Is a year of travel, unexpected things, having fun, but don't abuse it. Meet new people, get out of your rut, expand and promote yourself, watch your health, stop smoking or other addictive patterns, create balance in life.
Yeah. I think that somebody broke this down. I heard in the past that the United States is a 5 based on the year that it was, the date in the year it was established.
Interesting.
And so they're a 5, a force of change. I would definitely say
so established kind of means birth in a way, right? It's like the birthing of an actual thing, like not a person, but like a building or a business or something like that, because there's all these things that have been established, and they're all strangely established on 33 dates, which would break down to 6, which is
okay.
The next
Let's
one.
See what 6 is.
So 6 is home, family, relationships, career. You can buy, sell, or redecorate a home, personal relations, marriage, divorce affairs. You always deal with a soulmate, new or old. You may deal with sexuality. Family members are in focus. It can drain your energies and make you angry. You can cement great friendships and find new and long lasting. Health is generally good unless you create an illness or accident to gain someone's attention or go on disability as you no longer wish to work or function.
So number 6, which is me, sounds more like someone else I know.
That's funny.
But I can definitely see some of the similarities, like almost every word for word, until it says like you can cement great long-lasting friendships. I'm like, I feel
That's
like I've
not
had
like
some good
that.
friends, but yeah, I don't know them anymore. It'd be
Interesting.
pretty cool if I did, but I don't. My health is generally good, I have to say, and we can all create illnesses in our body if we're not careful through
right.
like addictive things. I definitely don't recommend getting yourself into a dependency situation where what you're doing is actually harmful for you. That's going to be bad for your heart, your mind, and your soul, and eventually lead to a shorter or less eventful life.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's just a number, but if you kind of resonate with it, then you can use it as a tool to
Mhm.
kind of enrich yourself. You know, if you know what the meaning is, and then you associate that with your own life, or you know totally reject it, you can totally be like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I don't. That's not me at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're like, okay, I have these problems, I can't even deal with it, then you just like step away.
Exactly.
You're like, retreat from reality.
Retreat, retreat. So, seven.
Number 7.
This is a year of self reflection, especially if you have ended a karmic relationship in the, that's not spelled right, in the 6th year. Let me fix that. Find yourself, heal your issues, deal with emotions, discover who you are and what you want apart from family, friends, and relationships. Your outlook changes. You can feel a bit depressed or lonely as you search for the for the your for your life's mission. Allow your soul to guide your destiny. You will create synchronicities to show you the way. You seek past lives and other metaphysical interests that expand our awareness of things beyond third dimensional reality. You read book, you read book, may see spirits, dream of loved ones who have crossed over.
Is
You can
English not your first
walk
language?
away from traditional religion, saying it is too limited and often disappointments.
Hey,
Yeah,
I want to do your number
I don't
again.
know. I don't.
Hey,
I don't even put books
give me
here.
the
There we go.
don't give me the year, but give me the month and the day that you were born.
Okay, month is 7, like July,
Okay,
and 24th, 24,
which is 6.
which is a 6. Yeah.
Okay,
So if you add those together, it's 13.
so all right,
And after we go through this, we'll go through the numbers.
you are an 11. Did you know that? You're a
Yeah.
master number.
Yeah.
You
That's
didn't
not
know?
my. That's not my full. That's. Wait, are you talking about you did 1978
I did
and all
19.
that?
I did the whole year the way you're supposed to do it.
Oh, how did I break it
1978.
down to 2? Oh no, that still is 2.
It's still 2.
Yeah, that's
You're
right. But
still a
I just
2.
broke it down a different way apparently.
Yeah, but if you
Interesting.
use the year and
So
instead
I'm an 11.
and then you do 24 and you just 2 plus 4 is 6, so 7 plus
Well,
6
we'll go into what 11 means
plus
after we
25
get to
is
after the
38,
personal
which is
year.
11, which is 2. Now I'm ranting. Sorry.
Okay, so
And
I resonate with 7. I think that I should be a 7.
I think I was just thinking that. I was like, I have to do this over again because like I don't know if you did it right the way you were telling me, and we did it.
Well, it says it
You
up here.
sounded like a 7.
I showed you up here. If you go back up here, see,
Yeah.
that's how you do it. There's the example. So this is that, that is that, and then that. So you just add your numbers
Okay.
up.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Exactly. So then mine is 7, 7, 6, 7.
Yeah.
And
So-
that equals 20.
Okay, let's keep going. What's number 8?
But that is 11. How do you get 11? I'm curious how you broke it down to 11.
7 plus 6, 13. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Plus 25, which is 1978. If you just 1 plus 9 plus 7
Oh,
plus
you
8.
added
That's
that.
25.
I get it. Okay, yeah. See, I didn't add. I just broke it down. I took the 7
Yeah.
basically.
So
instead.
13 plus 25
is 11.
38.
And then
11.
38 is 11. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's true. And then that breaks down to 2.
So you're right either way. Somehow you got there.
So here's 8. 8, money, power,
money,
business,
shit. I should have
career,
been what?
Pay and collect debts.
Damn it! I should have been an 8.
Focus on how to increase money. Be businesslike and practical. You can gain recognition for prior years of hard work. Push your goals. Make important contacts.
I'm gonna go change to an 8.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
you gotta change to
I'm gonna
8.
go back in time.
That's your whole thing.
Actually, 8 was always my favorite number as a kid, and now my favorite number for the longest time has been 37. I just think it's a magical number.
37. That's funny.
Yeah, and 73
that's that one,
is also.
That's that one. So it's the 37 is fourth prime.
Fourth prime. Yep, I associate very strongly with 4 as well. And 4 is like
4 is the cube or the square.
I think
it's
it has
a square,
which has a nature element.
It's two-dimensional version of a cube.
Yeah, the 4 points.
Interesting.
Just 2 lines up, as above, also, so below.
Well,
and then
right and left. Right. But there's also that also relates to like the map. Like northeast, southwest.
Yeah, I've always been very fond of geography.
It's the 4 agreements. It goes to the 4 directions. Right?
Yep.
Which is all interlocked in magic processes in pagan world. So that's kind of interesting. Then there's like 4 what do you call it? Like elements.
Yep, 4 elements. I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, what's number 9?
Anyway,
who are these 8 people? These guys 9. Have got to be like the shysters.
This is the year to let go of things that don't work for you. It is considered a year of completions and endings.
Oh, year. Oh, that's right. Like,
you must relax and do not try to control things in your life. What?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh. Let them go, or they will be. Excuse me. They will be taken from you as your soul. The universe cleans house for the next cycle in your life. This can be a very difficult year, particularly if you do not like change. This is yes, you can hear about more deaths, but those are the natural rhythm of cycles of life. As we move into time of rebirth and consciousness
evolves. Consciousness evolution, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what numerology is all about. The evolution of consciousness. If you did not know, now you do. And yep, that is numerology 101. Actually, I gotta get going, but it's been fun.
Snap. All right. Well, later, bro. I'll just continue on my whole weirdness of numbers.
Tell us about gematria and the history of gematria.
Yes. And so from gematria, or from the, what do you call it, numerology, we have gematria because it kind of coincides with each other.
I would just recommend that as you read this, don't read it like you are bored with it.
Okay.
Because then you're gonna bore other people.
Sorry, people. I mean, so the ancient gematria of numbers.
All right. Later.
The ancient sites around the world are very precisely positioned on a global coordinate system in relation to the position of the Great Pyramid at Giza. The positions of the sites are given in gematria of their construction. A very ancient system of numbers was used in the system, which we will call gematria. Gematria numbers are found in ancient myths and religions, including the Bible. Gematria numbers were used in systems of weights and measures by ancient peoples, including the Greeks, Egyptians, Persians, Babylonians, and the Romans. So yeah, I kind of mentioned that earlier. The code system was mathematical constants, such as pi and the radian. The system also uses convections that are still in use, such as 360-degree circle, 60-minute degree, 60-second minute, the base 10 numbering system, the 12-inch foot, and the 5280-foot mile. The ancient Mayans used gematria numbers in their very accurate timekeeping. So that brings us to 0, which was created by the Mayans. 0 represents the cosmic egg, the primordial androgen, the plenum. 0 is an empty circle, depicts both the nothingness of death and yet the totality of life contained within the circle. As an ellipse of two sides represent ascent and descent, evolution and involution. Before the one, meaning the source, not the number, there is a void or non-being thought. The ultimate mystery of the incomprehensible absolute begins with meanings such as non-existence, nothingness, unmanifest, the unlimited, the eternal, the absence of all quality or quantity. And of course, the cultural references is Taoism, symbolizes the void and non-being. You have Buddhism, it's the void and not nothingness. You have Kabbalism, which is boundless, limitless, not light, aim. Pythagoras, which we talked about earlier, saw 0 as the perfect. 0 is the monad, the originator and container of all. And in Islamic, it's 0 is divine essence. That brings us to 1. 1 is considered to be primordial unity, the beginning, the creator. It is the first cause, or as some cultures refer, the first mover. 1 is the sum of all possibilities. It is essence, the center. 1 is referred to isolation. 1 springs forth, upsurges. It is seen as the number that gives us cause to duality as multiplicity and back to final unity. Chinese refer to 1 as yang, masculine, celestial. It is seen as auspicious number. 1 is the monad, Christian, God, Father, Godhead, Hebrew, Anandai, the Lord of the Most High, I am, hidden intelligence. In Islamic, one refers to 1 as God as unity, the absolute, self-sufficient. In Pythagorean, one meaning of spirit, God, which means all things come, it is the very essence, the monad. In Taoism, Tao begets 1, 1 begets 2, 2 begets 3, and 3 begets all things. Brings us to 2. 2 represents duality, which we were talking about earlier, and we have talked about in past pods. Alteration, diversity, conflict, dependence. 2 is a static condition. It is rooted, seen as balance. 2 sides. Stability, reflection. 2 are the opposite poles, representing the dual nature of human being. It is desire, since all that is manifest in duality is in pairs of opposites, as 1 represents a point, 2 represents a length. The binary is the first number to recede from unity. It also symbolizes sin, which deviates from the first good and denotes the transitory and corruptible. 2 represents two-folded strength that symbolized by 2 of anything, usually in historic by animals in pairs. Cultural references are in alchemy, there are 2, the opposites, sun and moon, king and queen, sulfur and quicksilver. At first, antagonistic, but finally resolved and united in the adrogen. Buddhists see 2 as the duality of samsara, male and female. 2 is theory and practice, wisdom and method. It is blind and the lame united to see the way and to walk it. Chinese, 2 is yin, feminine, terrestrial, inauspicious. Christian, Christ with 2 natures as God and human. Hebrew, 2 is the life force. In Kabbalism, wisdom and self-consciousness. Hindu, 2 is duality. The Shakta, the Shakti, and Shakti. Shakta, Shakti. Islamic, 2 spirit, or the 2 spirit, is referenced. And in Platonic, Plato says 2 is a digit without meaning, as it implies relationship with which introduces the third factor. Pythagorean, 2 is duad, the divided terrestrial being. Taoists say 2 is representative of the qua, the 2 determinants, yin yang. 2 is a weak yin number as no center. And 3. And 3 is a little bit longer, obviously. So we got 3. Its roots stem from the meaning multiplicity, creative power, growth. 3 is a moving forward energy, overcoming duality, expression, manifestation, and synthesis. 3 is the first number to which the meaning all was given. It is the triad, being the number of the whole, as it contains the being, a middle, and an end. The power of 3 is universal, and it is the tripartite. What? The tripartite nature of the world as heaven, earth, and waters. It is human as body, soul, and spirit. Notice the distinction that soul and spirit are not the same. They are not. 3 is birth, life, death. It is the beginning, middle, and end. 3 is complete cycle unto itself. It is past, present, future. The symbol of 3 is a triangle. 3 interwoven, and we've talked about that several times in the past. 3 interwoven circles or triangles can represent the indissoluble unity of the 3 persons of the Trinity. Other symbols using 3 are trident, fleur-de-lis, trefoil, trisula, thunderbolt, and trigrams. The astral or emotional body stays connected to the physical body. For 3 days after death, there is scientific evidence that the brain, even when all other systems are failing, takes 3 days to register complete shutdown. There are 3 phases to the moon. Lunar animals are often depicted as 3-legged. That's obviously spelled wrong. 3 is the heavenly number representing soul, as 4 represents body. Together, the 2 equals 7. 3 plus 4 equals 7, and form the sacred Hebdomad. The 3 times 4 equals 12, represents the signs of the zodiac and months of the year. Pythagorean, 3 means completion. There are 3 wishes. Genies have 3 wishes. 3 leprechauns, 3 prince or princesses, 3 witches, 3 weird sisters, among others. That just not even spelled wrong. Cultural references. Africa, Ashanti, the moon goddess is 3 people, 2 black and 1 white. Arabian, pre-Islamic, the Manat is a threefold goddess representing the 3 holy virgins, Al-Itab, Al-Uzza, and Al-Manat. They are depicted as aniconic stelae, stones, or pillars, or as pillars surmounted by doves. Buddhist tradition, the theme of 3 is represented by the Tri-Ratna, the 3 precious jewels, and the Buddha Dharma Sangha. Chinese sanctity, the auspicious number, the first odd yang number. The moon toad or bird is 3-legged. Celtic, Bridget, is threefold. There are the 3 blessed ladies and innumerable triads, often threefold aspects of the same divinity. And in Christianity, it represents the Trinity, obviously. The soul, the union, the body, the soul, human, and the church. There were 3 gifts of the Magi to Christ as God, King, sacrifice. The 3 figures of transformation, temptations, denials by Peter, one of the 12 apostles. 12 equals 3. 1 plus 2 equals 3. There were 3 crosses at Calvary. He died on the hills. There were 3 days to the death process for Christ, and there were 3 appearances after his death. There were 3 martyrs. I think that's supposed to be martyrs. It's not Marys. Is there 3 Marys? No, I don't think so. And there were 3 martyrs. And there are 3 qualities or theoretical virtues, which is spelled wrong. Sorry about my misspellings. Being faith, hope, love, or more commonly known as the charity. The number 3 gives the meaning the embracing Godhead father, mother, son, and daughter. And any Christians out there that want to correct any of this, feel free to. These are just my notes. Egyptian Hermetic tradition, Thoth is the thrice great, Trismegistus, the supreme power. Opening the line of the emerald tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, tablet 11, this is that. 3 is the mystery, come from the Great One. Here the light on the will dawn. In the primeval dwell 3 unities. Other than these, none can exist. These are the equilibrium, source of creation. One God, one truth, one point of freedom. 3 come forth from the 3 of balance. All life, all good, all power. 3 are the qualities of God in his light home. Infinite power, infinite wisdom, infinite love. 3 are the circles or states of existence. The circle of light, where dwells nothing but God, and only God can traverse it. The circle of chaos, where all things by nature arise from death. The circle of awareness, where all things spring from life. All things animate are of 3 states of existence: chaos or death, liberty, inhumanity, and felicity of heaven. And then there is an ancient wisdom that says messages or events that come in 3s are worth noticing. Whenever anything is mentioned 3 times, it is a witness to us that these things are of utmost importance. Now, of course, I'm breaking down the actual numbers from numerology so you understand where these numbers come from and how they correlate and how they associate with our world and why we have them all over the place and in religions. They kind of strive out of symbolic representations, infinite in nature, so it can be used for multiple things and are. To add, these 3 symbolize manifestation into the physical. It is the triangle pyramid shape in the Vesica Pisces. The symbol called a triquetra, triquet, a Latin word meaning 3 conquered or cornered, appears on the Book of Shadows, an ancient book of spells that assists 3 of these charmed ones in dealing with the evil forces that are continually encountering. You can call the cult people the charmed ones, right? Power of 3 has to do with alchemy. The Egyptian god Thoth, or Greek Hermes Trismegistus, thrice blessed or thrice great, are the progenitors of the emerald tablets describing the mysteries of alchemy. The alchemy of 3 is demonstrated by its power of multiplicity. For example, in understanding the numbers, 1 gave rise to 2, 1 plus 1 equals 2, and 2 gave rise to 3, 2 plus 1 equals 3, and 3 gave rise to all the numbers. 3 plus 1 equals 4, 3 plus 2 equals 5, 3 plus 3 equals 6, 3 plus 4 equals 7, 3 plus 5 equals 8, 3 plus 6 equals 9. Thus, in addition to being a number of good fortune, 3 is also the number of multiplicity and alchemy, among other things. Many believe the triquetrace, an ancient symbol of the female trinity, because it is composed of 3 interlaced ionic Vesica Pisces, aka Pisces LS Latin for vessel of the fish. And side note, fish could represent fish god and is the most basic and important construction in sacred geometry, which is the architecture of the universe. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat window, and I'll look at them and answer your questions for you viewers out there. And feel free to talk to each other too. So, to continue, a vesica is formed when the circumference of 2 identical circles each pass through the center of the other, in effect creating a portal. The triquetra represents the power of 3, or the threefold nature of existence, i.e., body, mind, and spirit, life, death, and rebirth, past, present, and future, beginning, middle, and end, sun, moon, and earth, and the threefold co-creative process described as thought, word, and deed. Sphere equals ovum, vesica Pisces, oval opening of the penis. The creation process, as described in the Vedas, is unfolding, maintaining, and concluding as in birth, life, and death. There are innumerable trinities and triads throughout myth and religions, traditions such as the triple goddess, maiden, other crone. One example in Greek mythology is Kor, Dimitri, Hecate. The Christian Trinity is Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Vedic trinities include Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, with their consorts Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Kali, to name just a few. And feel free to look up any of this stuff I mentioned, because it all can be further researched. To name just a few. Often referred to as triple planetary and celestial alignments as a triune council. Scorpio is the archetypal sign of the powerful sorceress witch, the crone aspect also linked with Kali, Hecate, Pel, and Cretan, snake goddess. Caradwin, and all the goddesses linked with death and rebirth. Her job is to align with divine will for the purpose of commanding life force energy so powerfully that she is fully the mistress of magic and manifestation of generating ecstatic life experiences through the shamanic process of death and rebirth. It is worth noting all the triune councils that occur regularly above and below as they energize the power of three. Greco-Roman is has fate, the Morai, I don't know how to say that. That's difficult. Moire, who are 3 in 1 as Moira, Moira. Hecate is threefold. The Irenaeus are 3 in 1 as Irene, as the Gorgons as Medusa. There are 3 charities, graces. There are 3 sirens, Horae, Hesperides, Graiae. I'm like really horribly saying these like names, so forgive me for that. Is a triple-headed, and Scylla as a 3-bitch tail. The chimera has a 3-part body. 3, 4, and their sum 7 are sacred to Aphrodite, Venus, as queen of the 3 worlds and 4 elements. Orphic symbols has the triad of being, life, intelligence. Hebrew 3 is symbolized by limitless light, sanctifying intelligence. In the Kabbalah, 3 represents understanding and the trinity of male, female, and uniting intelligence. In Hindu, the Trimurti, the triple power of creation, destruction, preservation, of unfolding, maintaining, and concluding. There are various trinities of gods. The moon chariot has 3 wheels. In Japanese, the 3 treasures are mirror, sword, and jewel, that being truth, courage, and compassion. In Morai, the Great Spirit, the Divine Creator, is a trinity of sun, moon, earth, the God of nature, past, present, and future. It is mind, character, physique, symbolized by 3 raised fingers. In Mexican, its trinity is represented by 3 crosses, 1 large and 2 small. In Scandinavia, it's fate as the 3 Norns, Mani, Navi, and Nithi, who denote full new and waning moon. Teutonic mythology, the moon is fate, and Holda, the lunar goddess, is trine with her 2 daughters. Thor is sometimes depicted with 3 heads, and the Triskel is a symbol of Odin, Woden. 3 is symbol of good fortune in Carthage. The great goddess, as lunar, is represented by 3 aniconic pillars. Slavic, the moon god, is triple-headed, and Taoist, the great triad, is heaven, man, human, earth. 3 is a strong number in Taoist symbolism because it is the center point of equilibrium. And that brings us to 4. 4 is seen as the first solid number, spatial in scheme or order in manifestation, static as opposed to the circular and dynamic, wholeness, totality, completion, solid, earth, order, rationale, relativity, and justice, symbol of measurement, foundation, alien frequency, and alien abduction. There are 4 cardinal points, 4 seasons, 4 winds, 4 directions, as in north, south, east, west, 4 elements, water, fire, water, earth, air, air, earth. In the Western culture, in Eastern cultures, there are 5 elements. There are 4 sides to a square, 4 arms to a cross. There are 4 rivers to paradise that formed a cross. The Garden of Eden was said to be within 4 rivers. Within paradise were 4 infernal regions, seas, and sacred mountains. There are 4 watches of the night and day, quarters of the moon. There are 4 quarters to the earth. There are 4 tetramorphs. The divine quaternity is in direct contrast to the Trinity. 4 is a symbolic number used throughout the Old Testament. The quaternary can be depicted as quatrefoil as well as the square and the cross. And then I have the cultural references. In Native American, as in other cultures, ceremonies and ritual acts are repeated in 4s. The Native American cultures, and I spelled that wrong, jeez, have used the number 4 most frequently as in the 4 cardinal directions. The 4 winds are depicted by the symbol of the cross and the symbol of the swastika. The swastika, as some misbelieve, was not created by Hitler. It was instead borrowed by the Native American and occult beliefs of which Hitler had great interest. Hitler derived his insanity of power from his misdirected interpretation and use of metaphysical principles. He used knowledge that his human consciousness couldn't possibly understand, and the use of this knowledge for personal gain is part of the imbalance that creates the chaos and karma. In Buddhism, Dhamma, tree of life, has 4 limbs, and from its roots 4 sacred streams of paradise that represent the 4 boundless wishes of compassion. Love impartially, or I'm sorry, compassion, affliction, or affection, love impartially, or partiality, love impartiality, partiality. It also represents the 4 directions of the heart as well. Chinese Buddhism, the 4 celestial guardians of cardinal points are Mo Li, Qing, the east with jade ring and spear, Virupushka, or Puksha, the west, the far gazer with the 4-stringed guitar, Virudhaka, the south, with the umbrella of chaos and darkness and earthquakes, Vaisravana, or Ravana, the north, with the whips, leopard skin, bag, snake, and pearl. Leopard skin bag, that's interesting. Makes me think of the programming of MK Ultra connection. Weird. Side note, leopard skin has to do with MK Ultra programming. It's on most fashion associated things, and has been for a long period of time, indoctrinating the culture with that type of mental programming that kind of brings you to primal perception. Anyway, Chinese. 4 is the number of Earth, symbolizes by the square. There are 4 streams of immortality. 4 is an even number. It is yin in polarity. In Christian, 4 is the number representing the body, with 3 representing the soul. Again, we see this theme of the 4 rivers in paradise. There are 4 gospels, evangelists, chief archangels, chief devils, the 4 fathers of the church, great prophets. There are 4 cardinals virtues: prudence, fortitude, justice, temperance. There are 4 winds from which one spirit is said to come. There are 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And then in Egyptian, 4 is a sacred number of time, measurement of the sun. Okay, and obviously, when you're putting time and sun together, to me that screams proto Saturn, right? Because the measurement of the sun, maybe for the Egyptians, could have been proto Saturn, considering the time frames of not the Egyptians of the 5,000 years ago, but the Egyptians from 10,000 years ago, the ancient Egyptians. Anyway, 4 pillars support of the vault of heaven. There are 4 canopic jars placed around the dead at the 4 corners, guarded by the 4 sons of Horus, who are associated with the cardinal points. In the Hermetic, it is divine quaternity. It represents God. So, on that side note of the 4 pillars, in the Masonic culture, they use 3 pillars. So that's interesting. I want to just throw that in, and they also associate with the Egyptian cultures. So Gnostic is a belief in Barbello, the 4-ness of God. Greek is 4 is the sacred number of Hermes, and we've talked about Hermes a little bit. Hebrew, 4 represents measuring, beneficence, intelligence. In the Kabbalah, 4 is memory. 4 represents the 4 worlds of Kabbalah. It also represents the 4 directions of space and the 4 levels of the hierarchical organism. Hierarchical, I can't say that word, organism of the Torah. Hindu, 4 is totality, plenitude, perfection. Brahma, the creator, is 4. Faced. The temple is based on the 4 sides of the square, symbolizing order and finality. There are 4 tattvas, the 4 bodies of human and kingdoms of nature, which are animal, vegetable, mineral, mind. There are 4 yugas. The 4 is the winding throw of the dice. There are 4 castes and pairs of opposites. In Islamic tradition, the 4 terms of the quaternary are principle, which is creator, universal spirit, universal soul, and the primordial matter. These correspond to the 4 worlds of Kabbalism. There are 4 angelic beings and 4 houses of death. There are 4 levels to the bardo. In Mayan culture, 4 giants support the celestial roof. 4 is seen as the number of support. Pythagorean, 4 is perfection, harmonious, proportion, justice, the earth. 4 is the number of Pythagorean oath. 4 and 10 are divinities. The tetracates, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10. Scandinavian, there are 4 rivers of milk flowing in Asgard. Semitic, 4 astral guards are identified with the 4 cardinal points. Teutonic, 4 dwarfs support the world. Taoist, there are 4 celestial guardians: Li with pagoda, Ma with the sword, Cho with 2 swords, Wen with spiked club. Excuse me. And that brings us to 5. I don't even know if 5 is probably going to be a bit long. So we got 5 is a symbol of human microcosm. The number of human forms. The pentagon, when arms and legs are outstretched. The pentagon is endless, sharing the symbolism of perfection and power of the circle. 5 is a circular number, as it produces itself in its last digit when raised to its own power. The pentacle, like the circle, symbolizes whole, the quincunx being the number of its center and the meeting point of heaven, earth, and the four cardinal points plus the center point. 5 is also representative of the Godhead, central creator of the four fours, plus itself equaling 5. 5 is the marriage of the heroes gamos as combination of feminine and the masculine. Feminine being even as 2 in frequency and masculine being odd as 3 in frequency, equaling 5. The number 5 symbolizes meditation, religion, versatility. It represents the 5 senses: taste, touch, smell, sight, hearing, everywhere except the east. In the east. In the east, there are 6. The extra being mind. We find meanings to 5 in the 5-petaled flower, 5 pointed leaves, especially in the rose. The rose has much symbolism, but also the lily, vine, all of which represent the microcosm. The 5-pointed star depicts individuality and spiritual aspiration, and education when it points upward. The 5-pointed star pointed downward represents witchcraft and its use in black magic. Noted, there is a broad difference between witchcraft and black magic. The number 5 formed the first counting process from which all else came. And the cultural references are pretty extreme. We got alchemy, 5-petaled flower, and 5-pointed star symbolizing quintessence. In Buddhist belief, the heart has 4 directions. The heart center makes 5, symbolizing universality. This idea is also symbolized by the sacred mountains surrounded by the 4 islands. There are 5 dhyani Buddhas. Vairocana, the brilliant, who is represented by the will, the witness. Akshobhya, the imperturbable, with Varja, the east and blue. Ratnasambhava, the jewel-born, south and yellow. Amit Abha, boundless light, lotus, west and red. Amagasidi, infallible success, sword, north and green. So it means all those things, Chinese, there are 5 elements, 5 atmospheres, conditions, planets, sacred mountains, grains, colors, tastes, poisons, powerful charms, cardinal virtues, blessings, eternal ideas, and relations to humankind. In Christian, 5 depicts human beings after the fall in the Garden of Eden. There are 5 senses, 5 points to the cross, wounds of Christ, fishes feeding 5,000, and books of Moses. Egyptian, there are 5 crocodiles of the Nile. In Greco-Roman, 5 is the nuptial number of love and union. It is the number of Venus. Venus years are completed in groups of 5. Apollo is god of light, has 5 qualities: omniscience, omnipresence, omnipotence, eternity, and unity. Hebrew, 5 represents strength and severity, radical intelligence. In Kabbalah, 5 represents fear. Five is the quinary groups of the world, 5 elements of the subtle and coarse states, their primary colors of senses, 5 faces of Siva, and the twice 5 incarnations. I think that's supposed to be Shiva. So Siva is a thing. And incarnations of Vishnu. Islamic, there are 5 pillars of religion, again with the pillars, 5 divine presences, 5 fundamental dogmas, 5 actions, and 5 daily times of prayer. Parsi, 5 is a significant number in Parsi and Mandaean rites. That's probably Mandarin. Mandarin. Possibly connected with the 5 sacred intercalary days of light. Pythagorean is Hieros Gamos, the marriage of heaven and earth. It represents Apollo as god of light and his 5 qualities. And brings us to 6. Which isn't that long. So 6 represents equilibrium, harmony, balance. It is a perfect number within the decade. 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. It is the most productive of all numbers. It symbolizes union of polarity, the hermaphrodite being represented by the 2 interlaced triangles. Hermaphrodite. That's right. Hermaphrodite. The upward pointing as male, fire, and the heavens. The downward pointing as male or female, waters, and the earth. 6 is a symbol of luck, love, health, beauty, chance. It is winning number. At the throw of the dice in the west. There are 6 rays of the solar wheel, and there are 6 interlaced triangles. There are 6 pointed stars of Seal of Solomon and Star of David, the Merkabah. The cultural references, Chinese is 6 represents universe with 4 cardinal points at the above and below, making it a total of 6 directions. Chinese culture, there are 6 senses: taste, touch, smell, sight, hearing, and the 6th being mind. The day and the night each have 6 periods. In Christian, 6 is perfection, completion. There were 6 days of creation. Hebrew, there are 6 days of creation. It symbolizes meditation and intelligence. Kabbalism, 6 is creation and beauty. Pythagorean is luck. And Sumerian, also 6 days of creation. 7. 7 is the number of the universe. It is 3 of the heavens, or it is the 3 of the heavens, soul, combined with the 4 body of the earth, being the first number containing the both spiritual and the temporal. In looking over the list of meanings, it doesn't take long to figure out why the 7 has become significant in metaphysical, religious, and other spiritual doctrines. 7 represents the virginity of the Great Mother. There are 7 ages of man, ancient wonders of the world, circles of the universe, cosmic stages, days of the week, heavens, hells, pillars of wisdom, again with the pillars, rays of the sun. Musical notes. Sound as frequency plays key role in matters of the universe. There are over 80 octaves of frequency, each governing the specific manifestation in the universe. Cultural references. In all cultures, myths, and legends, 7 represents completeness and totality, macrocosm, perfection, plenty, reintegration, rest, security, safety, and synthesis. The writings about the 7-headed dragon appeared throughout India, Persia, the Far East, especially Cambodia, but also Celtic and other Mediterranean myths. The 7th ray of the sun is the path by which the human beings pass from this world to the next. 7 days is the period for fasting and patience. The 7th power of any number, both square and a cube, and thus was given great importance. Alchemy. There are 7 metals involved with the work. Astrology. There are 7 stars of the Great Bear, which are indestructible. There are 7 Pleiades, sometimes referred to as the 7 sisters. Buddhists. 7 is the number of ascent and ascending to the highest, attaining center. The 7 steps of Buddha symbolize the ascent of the 7 cosmic stages, transcending time and space. The 7-storied Prasada at Borobudur is a sacred mountain and Axis Mundi, culminating in the transcendent north, reaching the realm of Buddha. In Chinese culture, the meaning and symbologies are intertwined. Although, Throughout, there are myths and legends of fairies and animal spirits. Christian has seven. Or in Christian, seven is an ideology. Ideal all. Boo. Oops. Ideal all. God is represented by the seventh ray in the center of the six rays of creation. There are seven sacraments, gifts of spirit, the seven of 3+4 theological and cardinal virtues. There's seven deadly sins, tiers of purgatory. In metaphysical belief, this would be one of the lower astral planes, or in Buddhism, one of the Bardo planes. There are in Christian belief seven angels of the presence, champions of Christendom, councils of the early church, crystal spheres containing the planets, devils cast out by Christ, joys and sorrows of Mary, the Blessed Virgin Mother of Jesus, liberal arts, major prophets, periods of fasting and penitence, seventh day after the sixth of creation. In the Old Testament, there are seven altars of Balaam, oxen and rams for sacrifice, trumpets, circuits of Jericho, 7 times Naaman bathed in the Jordan. 7 is the number of Salmon's bonds. The child raised by Elisha sneezed 7 times. The ark rested on the 7th month, and dove was sent out after 7 days. In Egyptian mythology, there are 7 Hathors as fates, and the priestesses of Hathor have 7 jars in their 7 tunics. Ra has 7 hawks, representing the 7 wise ones. 6 cows and bull represent fertility. There are 7 houses of the underworld, as depicted in Egyptian myths, with 3 times 7 gates. 7 is the sacred number of Osiris. In Greco-Roman, sacred to Apollo, whose lyre has 7 strings, and to Athene, Minerva, and Ares, Mars, Pan had 7 pipes. Again, a reference to 7 musical notes and frequency. There are 7 wise men of Greece. Hebrew tradition, 7 is the number of occult intelligence. There are 7 great holy days in the Jewish year. The menorah has 7 branches. The temple took 7 years to build, and there are 7 pillars of wisdom. Hinduism, there are 7 jewels of the Brahmanas and 7 gods before the floods and 7 wise men saved from it. In Islamic, the perfect number is 7. In Islamic tradition, there are references to 7, like 7 heavens, climates, earths and seas, colors, and prophets, active powers, states, or stations of the heart. The Kaaba is circumambulated 7 times, representing 7 attributes of God. In magic, there are 7 knots in a cord for spellbinding, and incantations are 7-fold. Certain orders of brotherhood use theme of trying 7 knots in their rope sash worn around their waist. Mithraic, the cave of Mithras, has 7 doors, 7 altars, and ladder with 7 rungs, depicting the 7 grades of initiation into the mystery school. In Pythagoras system, or Pythagorean, 7 is a cosmic number with 3 of heaven and 4 of the world. Sumero-Semitic, there are 7 lunar divisions and days of the week. Thou shalt shine with horns to determine 6 days, and on the 7th with half of a crown. The 7th thus becomes opposition to the sun and symbolizes darkness and balefulness, and therefore is dangerous to undertake anything on the 7th day, because that day is the day of rest. We can see here the influence of this belief in other religious contexts. There are 7 zones of earth, heavens, and where am I? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Symbolized by the planets of Ziggurat. There are 7 branches to the tree of life, which is having 7 leaves. Leaves are symbols of fertility, renewal, and growth. There are 7 gates of hell, 7 demons of Tiamat, and remember Tiamat's that proto Saturn story associated with Zachariah Ascension and Nibiru and all that, and 7 winds to destroy her. Interestingly, interesting to note that many belief systems it is said that the astral plane had 7 levels to it. One sound on one of those levels is wind. 7 is a mystic number traditionally associated with Venus and more recently with Neptune. It is a number of feelings and instincts of the group, minds of love, whether that strange and indescribable but pervasive feeling of love it is towards another person, a pet, oneself, or one's God. Love embodies tremendous sexual energy, the emotions of which may be directed in various ways. Heptagon. Heptagon is the inward directing that emotion, the containment, the love inside that is symbolized by the heptagon. It is a love we hold and can equally signify a deep religious conviction, a forming of our God in our own image, or infatuation with another. It is a feeling of contained. And security seems to have the heptagon, like it's the 7-pointed, what do you call it, star, and also the or that's a heptagram. It has a 7-pointed star, but inside of that's a heptagon. The heptagram also is shown itself in that show. I can't remember the name right now. King of Thrones, something like that. Throne of Thrones. Hey, what's that? What's that show we watched? Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Just after you
Okay, when you get back, you know. So, Game of Thrones has the heptagram in it as part of their like philosophy, and I don't know if that's some sort of putting it in a show to represent the symbolism or indoctrination or what. It's just a side note. I'm just like throwing it out there. So heptagram is the 7-pointed star. Heptagram is a mystical occult symbol. Like the pentagram, it has been called the witch's star. Also, the astrologer star, beyond 6 points. The polygrams all have multiple configurations. Yeah, just don't. And the heptagram may be drawn in 2 different ways, an obtuse form and an acute angled form. Both forms are unicursal. In Kabbalistic terms, the number 7 is attributed to Venus. It relates to man's mundane feelings and his instincts, to his sexuality. It relates to man's place in the pattern of nature and to his liking with the group mind, the undifferentiated soul of mankind. Man's pattern of mundane life is much ruled by the 7-day cycle of the week, the 7 classical planets, Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn, their names to the days of the week, and may be arranged around the figure of the heptagram. Interesting. Didn't know that. Placed around the acute heptagram in order of their apparent speed of movement in the heavens, the planets are ordered among the unicursal line in the order of days of the week. The heptagram also relates to 7 chakras of the body. These are energy nodes that rise up the course of the spine from the basal node, which is coiled, the Kundalini serpent. And remember, I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher. Side note. To the point at the top of the head. The mundane well-being of the body and its aura are linked to the chakras. The heptagram is symbolic of its balanced following of body energies of health. It is a symbol relating to healing and dynamic balance of the body physic. There are 2 forms of heptagram. The obtuse form suggests passivity, contentment, and attuning with nature and its forces, the healthy rhythms and normal sexuality of balance and feelings, and satisfies desires of normal receptivity or receptivity. and awareness of the feelings of others. The acute active form of suggests an outgoing interaction with nature's forces, making progressive use of them in directing sexual energy. It suggests strong feelings and strongly expressed desires. Likewise, perhaps heightened sensitivity to the emotions of others. It is a symbol of the empath and healer. The combining the 3-7 pointed figures together creates a beautiful mandala of meditation. So let's see. Hold on a second. I'll get to 8 in a second. Let's check on something. Where's me? Okay, anyway. So 8. Spirituality. 8 is the goal of initiate. Having gone through the 7 stages, 8 is infinity, paradise regain. 8 is solidarity as the first cube, and it denotes perfection by virtue of its 6 surfaces. There are 8 winds and indeterminate directions of space. 8 represents the pairs of opposites. The octagon is the beginning of transformation of the square into a circle and vice versa. Cultural references, 8 in many cultures and ideologies seem to have similar meanings. Felicity, perfection, or perfect rhythm, regeneration, resurrection. In some myths, the 8th day created the new man of grace. After 7 days of fasting and penance, the 8th day becomes plenty and renewal. 7 plus 1 is the number of octave, which is a continual theme in all esoteric belief systems. The knowledge of frequency and sound are a vital key to the ancient mystery schools. Buddhist tradition, 8 is completion, all possibilities. There are 8 symbols of good augury. Chinese system of belief, 8 represents the whole. It is possibilities in manifestation. 8 is seen as a good luck number. The pukawa is the design depicting the 8 trigrams and pairs of opposites, usually in a circle. The circumference of which symbolizes time and space. There are 8 delights of human existence. Christian, 8 is regeneration and rebirth. The font is usually octagonal as symbolizing the place of regeneration. There are 8 beatitudes. And side note, octagonal represents things like you've seen out there in the world, like a stop sign. And if you do the sacred geometry, it's actually a cube within a cube, kind of hidden in there. Like a what do you call that? Tetragram. I can't remember what it's called right now. Hold on, it's coming to me. Hypercube. It's like a hypercube, basically. I remember the actual name of it. So in Egyptian, 8 is the number of thoughts. Hebrew, 8 is perfect intelligence, splendor. The digit value of IHVH is the number of the Lord. The temple was sanctified in 8 days. In Hermetic, in their system, there is one chief god, 8 minor gods. Thoth and Hermes was the inventor of numbers and geometry. Hindu, 8 times 8 symbolism is the order of the celestial world established on earth. Temples are built on the pattern of the mandala, which is the 8 by 8 symbol. In their belief system, there are 8 regions of the world, suns, divisions of the day, and 8 chakras. In Islamic, the throne which encompasses the world is supported by 8 angels, corresponding to both the 8 divisions of space and groups of letters in the Arabic alphabet. In Japanese, 8 is many. There are 8 gods in heaven. In Platonic, Plato has 8 spheres of different colors surrounding the luminous pillars of the heavens. In Pythagorean, 8 is solidarity and stability. Sumero-Semitic, 8 is the magic number of Nebo. In Taoist, 8 to be all possibilities and manifestation, with the Pa Qua representing the forces in phenomenal world. There are 8 Taoist genii or immortals. And it brings us to 9, which is the magical number. When you multiply it by itself in any way with any number and you reduce it, it always comes back to itself. It always breaks down to 9. So, pretty fascinating. Nine is composed of the all-powerful 3x3. It is the triple triad: completion, fulfillment, attainment, beginning, and the end. The whole number, a celestial and angelic number, the earthly paradise. It is the number of circumference. Its division into 90 degrees and into 360 for the entire circumference. Hey, welcome. I have a person. Who's that? Catherine? Fire cat? I am not hearing you. Hello?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome on in.
Oh,
I'm talking about numerology, and I went into more of the esoteric number aspect of it.
yeah, I was enjoying it earlier. Well, this is my first time to ever join, so a little nervous.
Awesome. Well, nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm Firecat. I live in Texas.
Do you have anything to add? What's your perception on numerology?
Well, obviously, the powers that be definitely uh, subscribe to numerology and all that. Um, but yeah, I've never really studied it.
Okay. Well, if you have anything to add, just let me know, and I'll stop going on my notes and stuff.
Yeah, I just wanted to, get on, and you know,
I like to get other people's perspectives.
people, you know, earlier there was a bunch of stuff going on. Well, my mic was broken, but I did trace my history back to Castle, Galway, Ireland, Castle Monroe, and I was able to trace my history back 27 generations to that castle, and the family name is Blake, and then yeah, and he was Richard Blake was uh, one of the first. Well, it was the first Templar Knights or something, but my family doesn't, isn't a part of that at all anymore. But from the, uh, I would just was tracing my history. I would like to know from that to, um, well, I don't know.
Did you want to know your personal year or whatever?
Well, I know I traced it back to the year 1066.
What is that? Your culture's birth?
My yeah, family's name. Oh yeah. And, then we pretty much came over right after the Mayflower and settled in America. So I just found that out since I had the internet. I was able to trace back there.
Okay. Well, you basically just take the year and you add it up. You add the numbers up, and that's how you get. And then you sum and you like break it down. Like for instance, like 12. If you got like 12 as the number total, then you'd break that down to 3, because 1 plus 2 equals 3.
Yeah.
So whatever your like you said, what was it, like 16 something?
Well, it was year 1066.
1666.
No, 1000, year 1066.
Oh, 1066. Okay, so that would be a 13, which would be a 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna get back into it. We're talking about 9 now. The 9 is composed of all the powerful 3x3. It is the triple triad: completion, fulfillment, attainment, beginning, and the end. The whole number, celestial and angelic number, the earthly paradise. It is a number of circumference. It is division into 90 degrees and into 360 for the entire circumference. 9 is symbolized by the 2 triangles, which are a symbol of male fire, mountain, and female water cave principles. In cultural references, have like Buddhist, its tradition holds 9 to be the supreme spiritual power and the celestial number. In Celtic legend, it symbolizes 9 as a highly significant number. It is a central number with the 8 directions, with the center making 9. The triple goddess are thrice 3. There are 9 Celtic maidens and 9 white stones that symbolize the 9 virgins attendant on Bridget. 9 is connected with the Beltane fire rites, which are attended by 81, 8 plus 1 equals 9, men, 9 at a time. Chinese, 9 is Ka, a celestial power. It's 3x3 being the most auspicious of all the numbers. 9 is also signifies 8 directions, with the center as the 9th point, known as the Hall of Light. There are 9 great social laws and classes of officials. In land divisions for feng shui, there are 8 exterior squares for cultivation of the land by holders, and the central and 9th square is a god's acre. Dedicated to Shang-Ti, the supreme ruler, it is also known as the Emperor's Field, giving homage and respect, denoting the position of heavenly power. In Christian, oh, by the way, Firecat, where are you at? What area are you? What was that? I didn't catch that. Say again.
I live in Plantersville. It's about an hour above Houston.
Kingston?
Houston, Texas.
In what state? Texas. Okay, so you're getting the brunt of the Jade Helm 15 stuff.
Yeah, I'm really not that worried about it. I mean, I do own 59 acres, and actually the economy here is doing really, really well. And but he's what I like to call just the tsunami of cement is about to come my way. You know, all these new freeways, and I have a beautiful, beautiful ranch, and I just hate to see that it's about to come into Houston, just filled with cement and ugly buildings.
I see. Do in your like area, is there a Walmart? Is that one closed?
No, uh, it's about 10 miles away, the nearest Walmart. Yeah, my town, or my great grandfather came here in 1850, and he married the first white woman to ever be born in Texas. He married her, and he was a circuit rider, a lawyer, and minister. And but this is back in 1850. But he had 12,000 acres in this area, and it slowly got dwindled down. And but I have 59 of it, and um, but it was a little town that just was nothing but a gas station. And everybody just drives from Houston to College Station. And, it's ignored. But now the city of Houston has gotten so big, um, the development is definitely, going to come this way. The other
Well,
parts of America just do not grow quite as fast as they do down here. And Houston just, will turn a cow field into a shopping center in a blink of an eye.
I see. Well,
Yeah,
they did say in the presentation that they wanted to do their operations outside of towns, so they can go into towns, but they can have their operations kind of out of towns in kind of rural areas like farms and like barns and stuff. So they may be coming towards, they might come to your door and ask you if they can use your barn or something.
yeah, I do know Underwood is the justice of the peace, and I keep in contact because Grimes County, where I live, there's not really any big cities at all. So, I can ask him questions, if I'm worried about the kid home or anything. And
Okay. Well, just keep an eye out and let me know if anything happens.
yeah, because I've had black helicopters all over me, but
Well, I'm suspicious about the derailment of the train situation because I mean it just makes me think that it's set up so they can stop stop transportation of food and goods,
yeah,
whereas they already moved in all the vehicles.
yeah, there's two major
Because
rail.
I've seen several videos of them moving in the vehicles, and it just seems kind of a weird. I mean, I didn't do deep research on this train thing yet, but like what I've noticed so far is that it seems like they want you to be focused on it, and um, and it has to do with negligence, and they're probably going to set up some sort of law in that area associated with it. So that just makes me, just wonder what's the ultimate goal out of that. And if you think of the area, it seems like a really, an area where it goes through a lot, like where the transportation of goods goes through. So if they stop that, then you're probably going to have problems where people aren't going to be getting their services and their goods for a certain time.
Two hurricanes back to back, and one of them they freaked everybody out in Houston, and everybody seemed to have to evacuate, and that was really scary. Well, not scary, but everybody was. The road was. I'm right by the highway, and it was just bumper to bumper, and we had to go out and give people water because they didn't think to pack water, and but they panicked everybody, and they clogged up, and then they realized you can't evacuate Houston. You can't just say, "Oh, everybody leave," because it's this instant gridlock, and there was people dying in the heat, literally. It was just everybody was camping on the road. So they are trying desperately to build highway, through my area to alleviate in case of mass evacuation. But yeah, if anything happened in Houston, with your people, it's pretty much you just can't leave. It's just gridlock.
I'm
And
not sure if Jade Helm's scheduled in Houston. I think it might be.
yeah, well, Houston is so big.
It's probably not actually in Houston, but maybe something might happen in Houston and they'll be called to assess the situation because they're going to be nearby.
Well, they were talking about blending in, like they wanted to be able to blend in with the populace. you know, that would tell me that we didn't even notice them hardly. There's only 1,200 participating in J-Town.
Yeah, I know, but I mean that's only the people that are the special ops teams and the Green Berets and all that. Like there's certain, those are the 1,200 people, but they're also going to be adding people like the FBI, the CIA, NSA, DEA, um, the MIB, like they're taking all, they're putting all those letters together, with the organizations, the police, they're going to be working well with the police and everything, armed forces, and letting them know that they're doing their operations so they can be helped out. And then they're also asking civilians if they want to play roles during their process so they can help them do their thing. So they'll have like some sort of information, intel, if you will, that no one else knows, but they will know to go to those people to communicate with them because they know that they're involved. Whereas they're people, they might do it right in front of you. You wouldn't know because these people know each other and you don't know either of them. So it was like, so they can pull off something like information being traded back and forth, and you wouldn't even know that they're trading information because they're speaking in a certain code.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I've dealt with those type people before, unfortunately.
It kind of reminds me of spies, basically from 007 world.
007 is what I call
But it's like they're doing it here. They're not doing it overseas. They're doing it here.
it.
They're saying they're doing it here so they can train for overseas, but they're really doing it here. So that's weird to me. Anyway, I mean, we just kind of went on a side note there. I wanted to get back into the thing. I was just curious about where you lived and if you were dealing with any of that stuff
Yeah, no,
personally.
major, um, this house that we're building is literally right next to it. Like a year ago, I saw it, but if I see recently,
Can you bring your mic closer to your mouth? I can't hear you very well.
um, if I see major equipment movement in my area.
That's better.
Yeah, I am right above Houston. So.
All right. Well, let's see. Where was I? Continue. Christian 9 is. Wait. Yeah. In Christian, 9 is the number it represents. Appears scantily in the Christian symbolism. There are the triple triads of choirs of angel, or chores of angel. I think it's being choir, and the 9 spheres and 9 rings around hell. In Egyptian mythology, 9 represents the Ennead. In Greco-Roman, there are 9 gods and later 9 muses. In Hebrew, 9 is pure intelligence. 8 was perfect intelligence, also represents truth, since it reproduces itself when multiplied. In Kabbalism, 9 symbolizes foundation. In Hindu, it's the number of Agni, fire. The square of 9 forms the mandala of 81 squares and leads to and encloses the universe. In Mayan, there are 9 underworlds, each ruled by a god. We find this reference to 9 underworlds present in many cultures and beliefs. In Pythagorean, the 9 is the limit of all numbers, all other existing and coming from the same, i.e., 0 to 9, all is all one needs to make up the infinite amount of numbers. Scandinavian, Odin or Woden hung for 9 days and nights on the Yggdrasil to win the secrets of wisdom for humankind. Skeldy, the northern Persephone. I'm hearing what's that called? Echo. Are you listening? And it's hearing or something? turn down your YouTube. Okay, so let's see. The northern Persephone, the goddess of snow, lives in her mountain for 3 months and by Njord's sea for 9 months. 9 is the sacred number in Scandinavian Teutonic symbolism. And 10, which is outside of the thing because 1 plus 0 equals 1, which brings us back to 1. So, rebirth, that which stirs and wakens your soul at this time. 10 is the number of cosmos, the paradigm of creation. The decade contains all numbers and therefore all things and possibilities. It is the redix or turning point of all counting. 10 is all inclusive, representing law, order, and dominion. The tetrakatis, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10, symbolizes divinity, and 1 represents a point, 2 length, 3 plane, and 4 or surface, and 4 solidity or space. It is seen as a perfect return to unity. When based on the digits of the two hands, it is completeness and the foundation of all counting. Its highest ranges of completeness, 100 and 1000, are the basis of all Hindu cosmology, and in China, the 10,000 things, i.e., uncountable, symbolize the whole of manifestation. 10 is also the number of completion, of journeys and returns to origins. Odysseus wandered for 9 years and returned on the 10th. Troy was besieged for 9 years and fell on the 10th. 10 is the sum of the number 9 of the circumference with the 1 of the center, being perfection. We see 10 also being symbolized in rituals, like the ritual of the maypole, one of the axis with the circle danced around, or the one of the axis with the circle danced around. 10 by 10, moving into a new beginning, 1, moving into the pattern of great void, 0. Computer symbolism or symbology, 10 or 10101010, on off. Reality is computer generated. We live in a virtual reality, experiment in linear time and illusion. Allegedly. Computers use 1010 digital codes that repeat over and over. Circuit open and circuit closed. A blinking effect as it all goes back to the eye lens of the camera. We trigger our awareness with the same digits, 10 by 10, or 1010 digital codes that repeat over and over as we are in truth holographic projections of thought consciousness. The basis of computer is a 1 and a 0 created by 3 elements, a plus, a minus, and a gate. The gate allows us the current to flow or not to flow. 1 means closed, 0 means open. 1 is created by the circuit, 0 means the absence of the circuit. The Xbox allows people to have power over their reality and the game. Cultural references. Chinese represented by a cross formed centrally by the character Qi, symbolizing the self facing both ways, both yin and yang, which is considered to be the perfect figure. The 10 celestial stems, Kan, are possibly connected with the names of the 10-day week on the prevailing cyclic calculations, as evident in the number 60. Christian, there are 10 commandments of the Decalogue, as there are 10 parables of the 10 lamps, virgins, and talents. Tithys were to be given to God. The 10 aeons become Sephiroth, emanating from the pleroma. In Hebrew Kabbalism, 10 is the numerical value of Yod, the eternal word, the first letter of the divine name. Still in keeping with the Kabbalist theme, 10 is representative of the Decalogue, divine support, intelligence, the kingdom, the 10 names of God, and resplendent. Sephiroth, the spheres or emanations from the Aeon Soph, symbolized by the tree of life, the first being the monad, the first cause of the other 9, which composed of 3 trinities, each being an image of the original trinity of male, female, and uniting intelligence. The 10th Adoni represents the mystic return to unity. In Solomon's temple, there were 10 tables, and candlesticks. The cherubim were 10 cubits high, and 10 Levites minister before the ark. Islamic tithing holds an important place. Hindu 10 is based on higher ranges of 10, i.e. 100 and 1,000. Pythagorean 10 is the monad, the recombinant of a series of infinite expansion. 10 is perfection. Roman 10 is represented by X, the perfect figure, and is seen as completion. Remember, X also is Saturn. The Sumero-Semitic, the 10th day of the spring festival, was celebrated by a procession comprising the whole of the gods. That brings us to 11, which doesn't have to be very big. 11 has the 1111 digital code for awakening. 11 represents balance. It is your spiritual twin, DNA. In systems such as astrology and basic numerology, 11 is considered to be a master number. 11 can also represent sin, transgression, and peril. 10 being perfect number, 11 representing the exceeding of both. It is interesting to note that 11, when broken down, equals 2, compromises 2 of duality. See number 2 for more explanation. So we already broke down 2, so we don't need to go into that. And then 12 has a bunch of stuff. So you got the clock code. 12 references digital code for illusion of time, the Great Pyramid. 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3. 12, 12 is 3 plus 3 equals 6, which is the Star of David. Or Merkabah, Kabbalah, Tree of Life, blueprint for the architecture of our reality. Also the hexagon, or a storm, or Saturn. Reality is created by 12, a source, triggered by a tone. The source divides into 12 pyramids, which spiral around the source, creating a multidimensional grid or matrix. This is the source of energy which creates everything our soul experiences in many levels of grid realities. This all occurs simultaneously through 12 is a measure of time. The calendar months, clocks, astrology, etc. Alleged. The duocod is a complete cycle, cosmic order. The 3 times 4 is both the spiritual and temporal order, the esoteric and the exoteric. There are 12 signs in the standard zodiac, and 12 months in our year, 12 hours of the day and night. Cultural references are fruits of the cosmic tree. It is said that there are 12 days to return to chaos in the winter solstice when the dead return celebrated the Saturnalian Rome, which again is Saturn connected. There are 12 days of Yuletide and Christmas. These celebrations are also found in Vedic, Chinese, pagan, and European symbolism. The days are said to forecast a meteorological pattern of the 12 months and the coming year. Buddhist, there are 12 members of the Council of the Dalai Lama. In Celtic, there were 12 paladins or peers of Charlemagne and 12 knights of the Round Table at King Arthur's court. In Chinese, there are 12 terrestrial branches. Qi. There's boar, cock, dog, dragon, goat, hare, horse, monkey, goat, ox.
Oh, wait.
Snake. These are the beasts of constellations and are under 6 branches of the year tree. There are 6 wild, yin, and 6 domestic, yang, animals represented. In Christian, there are 12 fruits of the Spirit, tribes of Israel, and are 12 apostles. There are 12 gates and foundation stones of the holy city. There are 12 days of Christmas. In Greco-Roman, Herodotus said there are 12 gods and goddesses of Olympus. Hesiod mentioned there are 12 titans. 12 is also the number of tablets of the law and the days and nights of Saturnalia. Hebrew, there are 12 fruits of tree of life and 12 gates of the heavenly city. There are 12 loaves of the table of the temple, which represented the months of the year. Aaron had 12 precious stones in his breastplate. There are 12 sons of Jacob. In Hermetic, there are 12 months of the year, and there were 12 torments. Islamic, 12 descendants of Ali and imams, or directors, rule the 12 hours of the day. In Zodiac has 6 northern, wet, and 6 southern, dry signs. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius are fire, hot, and dry. East, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorns are earth, cold, dry. South, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius are air, hot, wet. West, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces are water, cold, wet, and north. Mithraic in Mithra had 12 disciples. Um, Semitic, there are 12 days of duel between chaos and cosmos. And 13. 13 equals 4, so 1 plus 3 equals 4. It's the fourth dimension, and that equals time. Cultural references, Christianity, there are 13 tenebrae, or Lenten hairs, candles, which are extinguished one by one, symbolizing the darkness on earth. At Christ's death, 13 is considered to be unlucky, and its origin is found in the idea of being Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus. He was considered to be disciple number 13. 13 also number of witches coven. There are 13 Mayan heavens, each ruled by their own god. 13 is an important number in the Aztec calendar, divided 13-day periods. It is also a frequent number used in divination. And then 20 is equals 2. Duality is the sum of the fingers and toes. 20 carries the significance of the whole of man, and reckoning by the score. 40 is the number that pops up over and over again, equals 4. It's humanity's movement through time. 40 seems to have many meanings associated with it, especially religious. It is the number of probation, trial, initiation, death, as in elevation of 4 is wholeness and totality. The importance of the 40 days probably comes from the Babylonian 40 days disappearance of the Pleiades, a period of rains, storms, floods, and dangers. The return of the Pleiades was a time of rejoicing, and bundle of 40 reeds was burned for the 40 days of evil power. The Roman quarantine kept ships isolated for 40 days in the harbor. Temples in Persia, Baalbek, Tartary, those of the Druids, and the temple of Ezekiel had 40 pillars. Jesus spent 40 days in the desert being tempted by the devil. There are 40 days to Lent, from those 40 days in the wilderness. There are 40 days of the resurrection from Easter to Ascension. There are 40 days to privileged sanctuary and 40 days to St. Swithin's weather. In the Old Testament, Moses spent 40 days on the Mount Sinai. Moses' spies spent 40 days in Canaan, and Caleb, one of them, was 40 years old. 40 days Elijah was in hiding, prohibition for Neviah under Jonah. For 40 years, the Jews wandered in the wilderness. In the flood, it rained for 40 days, and Noah's raven was sent out 40 days after mountain tops appeared. Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, and Esau was also 40 when he took a wife. So obviously, it's a lot of biblical stuff. It took 40 days to embalm Jacob. Israel spent 40 years in the wilderness. The standard legal beating consisted of 40 blows. Othniel, Caleb's brother, was victorious over the king of Mesopotamia and brought peace for 40 years, and the later defeat of Sisera again brought 40 years of peace. A little later, Gideon subdued the Midianites, bringing peace for 40 years. Abdon, one of the early judges, had 40 sons, but these were unable to prevent the Philistines from ruling western Israel for 40 years. At Sokoth's, Saul's army and the Philistines sat and looked at each other for 40 days. Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel. David reigned for 40 years, and as did Solomon. Egyptian, the 40 days of the death and absence of Osiris is a period of fasting. Islamic, number of change and death, but also of reconciliation and return to the principle. Muhammad received his call at 40 years. The Quran should be read every 40 days. Mithraic, 40 is the number of days of initiation rites and of festivals and sacrifices. 50 doesn't really have that much, as after completion of the 7 times 7 cycle of years, the 50th becomes the great year, Jubilee, return to the beginning and the primordial state. And 70. In cultural references, Hebrew symbolism, 70 branches of the Calendar are the decans, the 12 zodiacal divisions of the 7 planets in tens. 70 is written in Jewish texts, allots 70 years to the human lifespan. 666, ambivalent, is both the number of the beast, and the number of Hakathariel, the angel of Diadem. In Christianity, 666 is the mark of the beast, the Antichrist. Kabbalah is the number of Sorath, the solar demon possessed to the archangel Michael, the warrior of all that is evil, anti-God. He is depicted many times as the angel with his spear stabbing the serpent, Satan. It is solar number and number of squares, the sun, basic figure in sacred geometry. 888 in Hebrew alphabet is the sacred number of Jesus, as opposed to the 666 of the beast. All right, and that's that. Now, let's see what else I have here. So I think that's all I have. I think I have some other numeric codes. Oh, yeah, okay, so here's 33 and how that associates, which again would break down to 6. Okay, so let's see, the prime linear time. Okay, so 33 days, 33 degrees, all things are created by 33, as our reality is created by sacred geometry. It's a double digit, giving great power, and is linked to the old world orders by exact degree in the great plan. Connected by grid points, gridlocked to the Freemasons, we live in a Masonic program. The final outcome not in the hands of the characters in the script, but in the creators. We are the creators, not in 3D. This is a person wrote this stuff down. So, what is meant by the New World Order? Return the souls to source. One symbolized by the dollar bill, Great Seal, and the dollar bill. I have Horus, resurrection, rebirth. I, evolution of consciousness, and throughout the end of linear time, linear parallels, lines of experience. We have the 1111 twin sprawling DNA, twin towers, grounding 0, completion, return to 0 point. And that's it. So that's it for that one. And then you have the pentagram, which is symbolized by the number 5, sacred teaching moved from the Middle East to Europe, the U.S. now confirming full circle in the Middle East. George B., the player in this game, just upon the chessboard. Those who hold the secrets awakening and now teaching, there are protectors of the information, the brotherhood, secret societies, those who record information on the stone, crystals throughout legends and other oral traditions on paper and art, architecture and music to be found as grid, releases the information, the record keepers. Program created metaphors in everything if you see past the illusion. The word pentagram comes from the Greek pente, meaning 5, in as in pentagon. Gram comes from the Greek verb graphein, to write. The same ending found in such words as telegram. Thus, pentagram refers to a 5-pointed star or any other figure of 5 lines. 8 is most often referred to as a symmetrical 5-pointed star with equal sides, drawn either with single line or with two closely spaced parallel lines. Their overall shape is like the decoration on top of many Christmas trees and the stars on the American flag. Upright pentagram is a 5-pointed star with 1 point aligned upwards, and the inverted pentagram is a 5-pointed star with 2 points aligned upward. Upright pinnacle is generally defined as an upright pentagram surrounded by a circle. And the Pythagorean pentacle is a uniform 5-sided structure closely associated with the planet Venus. The Venus goddess was in ancient times both war and fertility divinity. Promoters of the Christian ideology sought to suppress the sexual pleasure aspects of this ancient goddess when transforming her to chaste Virgin Mary, also used in the basic design for a fortress. This appears to be a movement of sacred geometry from the Egypt castle fortress on the U.S., the Pentagon, the Old World Orders, Freemasons, and all that jazz. The sacred shapes are pentagrams, hexagrams, cross, septagram, vesica Pisces, spiral, solids. The pentagram has been a sacred symbol in many cultures. Greece, India, China is due in part to the fact that it exemplifies the golden ratio. Pentacle is a 5-pointed star with a circle around it. The circle represents the spirit, which works through the 4 elements to achieve spiritual unity. It is a symbol of the earth and of the north, and is such feminine tool of the goddess. It's a symbol of life, fertility, and death. Symbol of the first degree, Wiccanhood, and displayed by the priestess when she stands, arms extended and legs apart. However, the second degree of pentacle is downward pointing, representing the horned god, which is in this case a symbol of death and represents the time in which is life, when they must confront their inner self. In ritual, it is a receptacle of grounding energy, as well as sometimes used for serving the cakes in the cakes and wine ceremonies, and representative also wealth and life, practically and stability. And then let's see what else I got here. Yeah, so I think that's about all I have on that numerology. And let's see what do we have here. Oh, okay, yeah, here's another one. This also has to do with 5. So I got this one on the number 5. Pythagoreans refer to the number 5 as pentad, as symbolized by a pentacle drawn within a circle. 5 encompasses the first even number 2 and the first odd number 3, and is called the number of marriage or wedlock. It consists of both male and female representations. In Kabbalah, the 5th Hebrew letter, pronounced He, is associated with the Aries or the ram. It has a value of 5. In this philosophy, the symbolism of the ram denotes the beginning of the zodiac. Since the zodiac is considered a two-way form of energy, Aries is both the beginning and the end in the structuring of energy. It is considered to be the seed of life. Mathematically, no matter what sequence of number you use to add up to 10, 5 will always be the arithmetic mean. Therefore, it was considered the number of justice as an equalizer or balance between excess and lack. This is illustrated as follows. This diagram represents the magic square in which each row and column coincidentally add up to 15, 3 by 3 square, where 5 is the mean, and is also referred to as the table of Saturn square. And I'm going to show you what that looks like, so you know what I'm talking about. And that's this. Oh, wait. This explains that. I'm going to have to actually show that real fast. That's not even right. That's this. So this is the Saturn square, and if you add them up any direction, you get 15. This is the seal of Saturn. So how that works is you do the number scheme. You go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, 7, 8, and 9, and it creates that. and that's the Scylla Saturn. So back to where I was. Continuing, you have that incredible thing about the particular magic square is that it can be found in many ancient philosophies. But first, more about the number 5. It may have been Agrippa who wrote the number 5 is of no small force. In magic, it was purported to have great power in driving. Oh, I lost my place. Away evil devils and expelling toxins. It was considered the number of good fortune, the seal of the Holy Ghost, the number of the cross, 4 endpoints in the intersecting point. There are 5 senses, 5 wandering planets, 5 fingers and toes, 5 elements. The other day, there's this information the person said. Okay, so Hebrew. Found out that the Hebrew H is commonly found in Western European amulets, either alone or repeated 5 times to represent the name of God. Numerical value of 5. There are many websites, so check those out with the 5. And then I already told you about the magic square, but this is what it says about the magic square. Magic square is a series of consecutive numbers arranged within the square grid in such a way that each column, row, diagonal all sum up to the same number. A magic square can be alphabetic or numeric. The most well-known order is 3 rows of 3 columns. A magic square can be odd, i.e., or even, 4 times 4. It is also commonly depicted with Hebrew letters in place of Western numbers. The Saturn square can also be found in Kabbalah, Tibetan astrology, I Ching, Pythagorean writings, and many occult, alchemical, magical traditions. Saturn square is 3 by 3 square. Column diagonal adds up to number 15. The number 15 sums to 6, resulting in the 666 all sides. 6 we know represents the celestial star of the macrocosm, the Star of David. 666, 18, which sums to 9. The square itself has 9 boxes. 9 ties the square to the 9th chamber of the Kabbalah, which coincidentally is also called the square of Saturn. It is 3 divisions of boxes on each side. Saturn is attributed to Bina, the 3rd Sephiroth of the Tree of Life. So, stop that. Okay, I feel like I need to explain the Kabbalah because we talked about it a lot. So I'm going to go in, and there was a lot of adding and subtracting involved with the Kabbalah. There's a lot of numerology that deals with the Kabbalah. So the Kabbalah, to the occult magician, the sum of the rows, columns, and diagonals in the magic square is very significant. For example, Jewish practitioners of the Kabbalah are especially intrigued by the 3 by 3 magic square because of the sum of each row, column, and diagonal of 15, the same as numerical value of H. Y and H. The first 2 letters of God's name is Y, H, W, H. It is said that there are 2 types of Kabbalah, the practical and the theoretical, also called speculative and theophysical. Theoretical Kabbalah involves the study of the deep teachings and secrets that Kabbalah reveals about creation. Okay. Well, shoot. I'm going to have to end here. So I'll just go ahead and read the rest of this and then end it. So, practical, where was I? Theoretical Kabbalah. Oh, yeah, the creation. The immense of God's light in creation and the transcendence of God's infinite light. Practical Kabbalah uses the knowledge of Kabbalah in order to influence actual events to take place in the world. In other words, these practices are intended to produce specific results in the 3D. Techniques for making charms, amulets, and talismans also were eventually absorbed into the system. These centered around the magical powers of the light emanations of the Hebrew alphabet, ability to manipulate the names of God for magical purposes. From lectures, that's another person. 2 degrees. One such practice involves meditation on the 72 names. The various 3-character names represented 8 by 9 grid have different energetic characteristics. This is for healing, recurrent negative thoughts, and so on. Names represent 72 psychological aspects of God. It's not a magic square. I personally find these powerful. has been written that Moses parted the Red Sea by unlocking the power of these names. Exodus alludes this given entrance into Canaan. Then they give that, and then getting back to the magic. Okay, so that's it. So basically, I went through all of my information I have currently on numerology. I may do another follow-up to this as I go deeper into it and find more information that hasn't been portrayed. But thank you, listeners, for coming in, and thank you, Firecat, for coming on. And do you have anything to add before I close? Are you there still? Yeah, there you go. So you have anything to add before I close? You're not coming through. Come closer to the mic. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. You're not coming through. But anyway, it was great having you on. Thank you for coming on. Come on next week, or following pods in the future. And anybody that is out there in Chatland, thank you for joining us. And we will see you next time. Peace out. That's not the right one. And remember, do your research.